start with an image that comes to mind when I think about my own meditation practice or even just my own experience. Sometimes when I go to a meditation retreat or when I'm sitting in meditation, when I haven't sat in meditation in a while, it can take a little while for my body to adjust. I think neuroscientifically speaking, we can say my body is engaging the sympathetic nervous system, fight or flight, probably because of some stress, chronic stress that might be happening in my life, some things that I'm trying to manage in life, and the way that the body responds to that. And then I go to sit in meditation, and the body is still, the motor is still going as far as fight or flight, releasing stress hormone, cortisol. The motor is still running, so to speak. So I'm not sure where I heard this metaphor or if I came up with this. I don't even remember at this point. But if you think of a fan, if a fan is running, and let's say there are 3 speeds on the fan, it's kind of like our body. The more stressed we are, the more activated we are, the higher the speed of the motor. And if we go to sit in meditation or turn off the fan, turn off the motor, let's say you just unplug the fan from the wall. It won't immediately shut off. It will take some time for the blades to wind down. And if the fan was on a higher speed, if it was on speed 3, it will take longer for the fan to wind down. But where this becomes tricky is this is something that it may be helpful to know, but not to try to do. And this is where the discussion turns to effort versus non-effort. So if I know that there are systems in the body that will change neurophysiologically, my body will produce less cortisol. I will activate my parasympathetic nervous system. So I will be in a place of rest and digest as opposed to fight or flight. Then that's something I want. That's why I'm meditating, to get there. And this is where it's kind of a paradox to the whole, what's the word? I'll say point. The whole point of meditation is just being here with whatever is here. And then there's this knowledge that if I meditate, the body will probably change states. And then once we see that happening, once we get a taste of that, it can become something that we want to get to. And this wanting to get to, this desire, can then become an obstacle to the meditation. If we sit down with the intention of getting to a place where we are more calm, then we have an agenda. Then we have a plan for where this meditation is going. And just like in life, you never know where the meditation is going to go. You can't have an agenda for it. As soon as you have an agenda for it, you're not meditating. So this is where the topic of effort versus non-effort. What is non-effort? Non-effort might look like you sit down in meditation, or just sit down, not even in meditation. You don't even call it meditation. You just sit down and be here. Try it now for a moment. Wherever you are, just being here. John Kabat-Zinn wrote a book, Wherever You Go, There You Are. that's always true. But then effort and non-effort becomes very cunning, very tricky, because now we know, okay, I need to approach with non-effort. But even in that language, do you hear? I need to approach. So the effort is very cunning. It very subtly finds its way back in. Because now I have a new goal, a new agenda. And the new agenda is non-effort. Because I know effort is an obstacle, so I must non-effort. But then when I say I must non-effort, then non-effort becomes a verb, something we're doing. So you see, it can become very tricky, and something that really it's hard to make sense of in the mind, because it really can't be made sense of in the mind. And then the question becomes, how? How do I meditate? Okay, effort, non-effort, not efforting, not non-efforting. What are you talking about, James? And that's where I think it becomes helpful to not try to use the mind to make sense of the meditation practice. To approach the meditation practice from a different place, and that being, I'm not going to try to understand it, because it really can't be understood in terms of cognition. So instead of trying to understand, you just be here. If you go to the beach and you see a sunset, maybe some people are doing this, but I would say most people they're not trying to understand it. If you are on that same beach and you go into the water and you're swimming with the waves, feeling the water on your skin, if you're not trying to understand it, you're just being there. So in some ways, people ask me, how do I meditate? You talk about non-effort, how do I do that? And in a lot of ways, we all do it all the time. Think about any time that you were in the zone, doing something where you were not thinking about it, but just being there. Maybe you were painting, or playing an instrument, or at a concert, or dancing, or cooking, and you were just being there with what is there. That is non-effort. But when we talk about meditation being a practice, then we start using this language that suggests that we can practice non-effort. We can intentionally bring ourselves to a place where we are not striving. And I think that this, at least for me, this non-effort and this non-striving being here is a byproduct. If I sit down in meditation with the intention to be relaxed, it won't work. If I sit down in meditation with the intention to be with my breath and just breathe, period, then sometimes I will, as a byproduct, my body will unwind like the fan. My body will. The motor will stop running as fast. And sometimes it will seem to get very close to shutting off completely, of just tuning you with experience. But it has to be for the sake of just being. What I mean is, if we meditate trying to get somewhere, even trying to get to non-striving, it can become an obstacle. So I'm going to move towards guiding a meditation and it'll probably be, I'll probably stop here on this recording and make another recording that would hopefully guide us through this practice.